In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up multiple take profit targets on your short positions on the Yubit futures market. I'll also show you how to set up multiple stop losses as well. If you'd like to create an account on Yubit, I left you a link in the description of this video as well as in the pinned comment down below. If you use that link when creating an account, you'll be eligible for up to 10,000 Tether in welcome rewards, and you'll be saving 10% on all your trading fees for the lifetime of your account. You'll also be supporting my channel at no extra cost to you. This video is not financial advice and is for educational purposes only. Let's get into the video. All right, we'll start right here on the futures market user interface. So if you're not already here, you can get here by coming up where it says futures, and we'll click here where it says USDT M perpetual. I'm currently set to the pairing Bitcoin versus Tether, and I'm using a daily time frame, and that'll work perfectly fine for this demonstration, so I'll be leaving the pairing as it is. So I'm going to come over here to the order panel. I just have a tiny amount of Tether here, so I'll go ahead and just do 100% like this, but of course choose a responsible position size for your trade. So now I'm going to come down here and click on open short, betting on the price to go down. And I'm going to click here on confirm. Now my short position is opened. So the next thing I need to do is find some price points that I wish to set up my take profit targets as well as my stop losses. So let's come up here to the chart. I'm just going to zoom it out a little bit like this. And let's imagine that I want to set my first take profit target perhaps down around this pivot on the market right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a horizontal from my drawing tools. I'm going to come right up here. If you don't see yours, just click on this little triangle. It expands into a drop-down menu. You'll find your horizontal lines right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. We'll come back over here to the chart, and I'm going to mark that pivot something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming in at 53,976. So now I'm going to go ahead and find another take profit target. For this demonstration, I'm going to keep it simple. I'll just do 2 take profit targets as well as 2 stop losses. But you can use this tool to set up 3 take profits, 4 take profits, 5 stop losses, whatever you want to do and whatever makes sense for your trade idea. But for the simplicity of demonstration, I'll just do 2 of each. So let's imagine that I want to set another take profit target, perhaps at this wick right here. So what I'll do is grab another horizontal and I'm going to mark that wick out something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 49,573. So maybe what I want to do is perhaps I want to close half of my position if my first take profit target gets hit at 53,976. And maybe I want to try to close the remainder of my position if the trade continues to go favorably and hits 49,573. So let's go ahead and do the stop losses now. So I'm just going to zoom the chart in a little bit like this. Okay, now that I'm zoomed in here, let's just imagine that I want to set my first stop loss perhaps above this little pivot right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the drawing tools, grab a horizontal line, and let's mark a spot just up above there, something like this. Now I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 69,403. Maybe I want to close half of my position in a small loss and begin de-risking if Bitcoin was to pop up and hit that first price point. So now that I've got that area marked, let's go ahead and find another area here. Let's imagine I want to put my second stop loss just above this wick right here. So what I'll do is I'll grab a horizontal line, come back over to the chart, mark a spot just up above that, something like this. And of course, I can see a price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 73,410. So I'm going to zoom the chart back out like this. And now I can see all my horizontals and the price points correlated to them. Now that I have my levels marked, I'm now ready to set my take profits and stop losses. So to get this done, we're going to come down here to our open position. If you can't see yours, just come over here, make sure you click on this positions tab. Next, we're going to come right over here where it says partial TPSL, and we're going to click on this plus sign underneath. Now we're getting our pop-up window here where we can set our first take profit as well as our first stop loss. And this is where those horizontals come in handy because I can see those price points on the y-axis of the chart. So for my first take profit on my short position, I marked a spot at 53,976. So I'm going to go ahead and type that into take profit trigger price. We're going to go 53,976. Now I need to choose how much of the position I wish to close if my first take profit target gets hit. And in this demonstration, I wanted to close half of my position. Now, if you come down here, you'll see where it says quantity. You'll be able to see your position size there. So in my case, my position size is 0.016 BTC. So half of that, simple math, would be 0.008 BTC. So I'm going to come back up here to the quantity box and I'll type that in, 0.008 BTC. Now Yubit is letting me know how much profit I'm going to capture if my first take profit target gets hit, and half my position was to get closed. Now let's go ahead and do the first stop loss trigger price. Of course, I can see that price point on the y-axis of the chart coming at 69,403. So I'm going to type that in, 69,403. And for the simplicity of demonstration, let's imagine that I want to close half of my position if my first stop loss gets hit and begin de-risking. So of course, I already know half my position size is 0.008. So I'm going to go ahead and type that into the amount box right here. Now Yubit is letting me know approximately how much tether I'm going to lose if I close half of my position at that first stop loss trigger price. So this is looking fine to me. So I'm going to come down here and click on confirm. Now I'm going to come back up here to the chart. We'll get rid of these horizontal lines. This one here. We'll delete this one here. And now we can see my stop loss in this green box right here, also marked out by this green dotted line. And we can see my take profit down below in this box right here. And of course, it's also marked by that green dotted line as well. So my first take profit target and stop loss has now been set. So let's go ahead and set the second take profit target as well as the second stop loss. To get that done, we're going to come back down here, make sure we're on our positions tab. Then we're going to come over here underneath partial TPSL. And this time we're going to click here on amount to. Now we're getting this pop-up window right here. So we're going to come down and click this plus sign next to cancel all. Now we're getting our pop-up window again where we can set our second take profit as well as our second stop loss. And Yubit is being a jerk and it's making it really hard for me to see the y-axis of the chart for those other two price points, but I did write them down, so we're all good. So my second take profit target, where I wanted to close the remaining half of my position, was down at 49,573. So I'm going to type that into this box right here, 49,573. The other half of my position quantity size was 0.008. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that in like this. And now I can see how much additional tether I'll be making if my trade continues to go favorably and hit my second take profit target. So I'd be making another 119 tether in this particular trade demonstration. Now we'll do the second stop loss, and my second stop loss trigger price was at 73,410. So I'm going to type that into this box right here. And of course, I want to close the other half of my position if that second stop loss gets hit, which again was 0.008 BTC. Now Yubit is letting me know how much additional tether I'll be losing if my first stop loss gets hit and then my second stop loss gets hit. So I'd lose an additional 70 tether in this particular demonstration. Looks fine for this demonstration, so I'm going to click here on confirm. Now you can see in this box right here that we have 2 stop losses and 2 take profits. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. Now we'll get rid of these horizontal lines like this. And now we can see both those take profits and stop losses on the chart. And if we come over to these boxes, we can see these boxes right here. Both my take profits and stop losses also marked out by those dotted green lines. And I can see the quantity of my position I'll be closing in each one of these boxes here. You can see 0.008 in each one, which is half of my position size. Now, a quick tip with this, make sure your math is correct. If your value is too high and you overestimate the size of your position, what can end up happening is you'll not only close your position, whether that's in a stop or in a profit, but you might actually accidentally open a position in the other direction. Now, typically these order types are what's known as a reduce only order, and reduce only makes that impossible to happen. But I'm not sure if that's how it works on Yubit. I'm usually really good about my math, so I've never had to experience that yet. But perhaps somebody watching this video has and can let us know in the comment section down below if these are reduce only orders or if that can happen. But just a quick tip, make sure your math is bang on. Use a Windows calculator if you have to, or a physical calculator. Especially if you're going to be setting up 3 take profits or 5 stop losses, whatever your idea might be. I'll just go ahead and close this out. Just don't assume that these are reduce only orders, just in case you accidentally open yourself a position that you didn't want. Now, if you want to amend these, you can actually easily do that by grabbing onto the boxes themselves. So for example, if I come down here to my take profit boxes, I'll hold down left click. Now you can see I can move that around. So if I wanted to drag it down a bit further, I could do something like that, let go of left click, and you can see my second take profit target was adjusted to 43,943. If I wanted to do the other one, maybe I want to drag it down to that wick there, hold down left click, drag it down, let go of left click. Now, as you can see, I just amended my first take profit down to 50,576. And it's the same for the stop losses. If I wanted to move my second stop loss, hold down left click, drag it up, let go of left click. You can see I just moved it up to 76,407. And of course, if I wanted to do the other one, same thing. Just move it wherever you want. So really easy to amend those. Now, if you want to cancel these all together, there's a couple ways to get this done. You can come over to this little X inside these boxes. You'll see cancel order pops up. Left click on that, then click on confirm. You can see my first stop loss just got removed. And if I come down here to my first take profit, same thing, left click, confirm, it's gone. The second way to do this is come down here where it says open orders, give that a click. Click here on TPSL. Come over here underneath batch cancel, click on cancel order. Now, as you can see, I just got rid of both of those. As easy as that. So that's how you can use the partial take profit stop loss tool for multiple take profit targets, as well as multiple stop losses. Of course, choose price points and sizing that makes the most sense for you and your trade idea. But at the end of the day, that's how that tool works. And there you have it. That's how you can set up multiple take profits on your short position on Yubit. If you got some value out of that, don't forget to leave me a like and hit subscribe for future content. Also, feel free to check out my other Yubit tutorials, which I've put together in a playlist on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. And until I do, have yourself a powerful day.